Okay, I'm live here. I'm Dan Abella from the New York NLP Institute. And the subject of today's talk is how to spot a liar by asking a series of questions. Okay. As a preface, I just starting this program with the goal that down the line, these skills will come in very, very useful as we begin to open up and lift the lockdowns in different communities. You will find that the job market is far more competitive, and you'll be running into a lot more people who will be unfortunately lying or deceiving you regarding the nature of their purpose. So, a couple of things about my background. I've run the New York NLP Institute, and what it is we've been in business for over 20 years, uh, teaching NLP and other styles of communication. The goal of NLP is to study successful communication in every both verbal and nonverbal. So, what I'll be covering in the next few minutes will be some basic questions you can ask people during the course of the conversation, or when, if you know them over 1 or 2 sessions, and we'll be able to establish a system that you can start telling when they're lying versus when they're being truthful. Okay, so a couple of things I want to start removing any preconceptions about spotting liars. In general, it's not easy. Even the best professionals um, have a challenge determining who's lying and who's not. And there's no hard and fast rule regarding spotting liars. Unfortunately, there's nothing. There's one specific question or one specific thing you can ask them, and we'll be able to tell whether or not they're lying or not. However, there is a system which we'll be discussing in a minute that enables you to start creating a baseline for when someone is lying versus when they're telling the truth. Now, a lot of those people who have studied or read books on NLP are under the impression that you can spot a liar if their eyes move to the left, uh, and because left means they're doing. I mean, if their eyes move to the right, because right means constructed images and left means remembered images. But that's totally false. The truth is that somebody is giving you their side of the story. They could be both constructing and remembering events. That's how memories are put together. So let's make sure that we don't use that as a tool for determining if someone is lying or not. The second thing is that lying is generally when we lie or when we do something against our will, we change our physiology. But keep in mind that really good liars are able to, well, they basically rehearse what they have to say. So the first thing you need to be aware of is if someone is giving you a an answer which is straight up, they've memorized it, most of the time they will be looking straight at you without even blinking. That is, that it's almost like they're reading a piece of information, and this information contains what they quote unquote refer to as the truth. So let's move forward in creating a baseline for determining when someone is lying versus when someone is telling the truth. Okay. So the first thing is you want to start off feeling being fairly friendly and in rapport with this person. And now this depends on the setting. This is a courtroom setting versus a setting where you're meeting with colleagues versus friends. Really, it all depends. So you need to use this appropriately. Now, let's say you're meeting someone and you're getting to know them. The first thing is um, you want to ask them. There are 3 questions. There are actually 6 questions that you ask them. Very, very, very simple questions. The first one is you want to set up a baseline, just very much like a lie detector in a sense. What a lie detector does is sets on a baseline, and based upon the conductivity of the signals, when you're lying or not, the interpreter is able to decide whether or not there's a fluctuation. So, in a sense, the kind of system that I will be outlining is very much like being a human lie detector. But like real lie detectors, they tend to be wrong. So be aware that even if your baseline is correct, you might still be wrong. Be prepared to move forward. However, this will give you a greatest sense of confidence, especially in those situations where you're not sure if you want to trust this person or not. Okay. The first thing is this. Uh, Everything and a lot of the information we get is nonverbal. In fact, back in the late 80s, there were a series of studies that indicated that close to 80% of our communication is nonverbal. But by nonverbal, I mean not just what comes out of my mouth, but everything else, what my whole body is communicating. In fact, there's a saying in NLP, we cannot help but not to communicate. We always communicate, no matter what we do. Uh, so, basic things to look for in nonverbal behavior is the following: breathing. Is the person breathing from the mid chest, their upper chest, or their lower chest? Okay. The other nonverbal behavior is blinking. They're blinking very, very quickly, or they're just stare at you. Okay. The third is changes in tone or color of the skin. Okay, these are nonverbal signals. If the person is sitting across from you, ideally there shouldn't be any impediments, any obstacles. So you're able to look at their whole body. So their legs cross, they're open. Their arms cross, they're open. Now keep in mind this. Another falsehood out there is that if the legs are crossed or the arms are closed, uh, they are telling you a lie. That's not true. Someone is like this might very well be hugging themselves, or might very well be feeling want to tighten up their body. It has nothing to do with whether or not they're being closed to the situation or telling you a lie. So keep that in mind. And NLP, more than anything, we are looking for patterns, what I refer to as clusters of information that seem to align with a specific line of questioning. Not so much any one data point that you can then identify as the truth, because that's not the way it works. We're looking for patterns, and everybody creates patterns depending upon how they configure. So for someone who is comfortable, for all they know, they may be pulling on their ear all the time, or if they're excited, they may be blinking. So the goal, your goal, is to make sure that you're looking for patterns. So when someone tells you something, not only will you be listening to the information, but also what is their body telling you. Okay. So again, nonverbal signals, breathing is a very powerful one. Body language. Are their legs crossed? They're sitting upright, or they're looking straight at you, or they're looking to the side. Okay, they're looking downward. Nonverbal signals. They're pulling at their ear, they're scratching their forehead, they're covering their eyes, they're covering their mouth. These are all signals. They don't necessarily mean that the person is lying or not. They're just signals, nonverbal behavior. So as you ask them these questions, you want to make sure you have these questions already set up ahead of time. So you're not thinking about what questions I'm going to ask them. And then on top of that, you need to worry about the nonverbal behavior. Because unless you've been doing this on a regular basis, you essentially be overloading your conscious mind. You remember the old story that we can only accept 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information at any given moment. That's why multitasking is so difficult. So essentially, this at the very least, make sure your questions are already rehearsed in your mind. So now you can just focusing on their nonverbal behavior. Okay, so now, just guys, nonverbal means breathing, blinking, any kind of verbal movement. So you're asking the following 3 questions. Number 1 is tell me 3 things that are true about you. Well, you can ask them straight up about that, or you can say, James, Were you born were you born in New York or were you born in Connecticut? I was born in Connecticut. Okay. You could ask him straight up 3 questions, or you can ask him, were you born in New York or were you born in Connecticut? Okay, you can ask him another question, which is, um, uh, is English your first language or not? Okay, or you can ask him. So essentially, ask him, tell me something that you really find exciting, that's very true about who you are. That's another way of expressing or asking them something that's really important or that's truthful about who you are. So as they are responding to you, pay attention to their body language. Okay. Now, what some lawyers do, in addition to this, is that they will ask the person that same question out of left field. They catch them by surprise. So this is actually very similar to what a lie detector interrogator does. They'll ask you a question to see how do you respond to stressful questions. Not whether or not they're lying or not, but how do you respond? So let's say you might run up to that person and say, "Well, wait a minute, you were, I saw you last week uh, at the market. I know you did." And the person saying, "No, I didn't." And as they say, "No, I didn't," notice how their body is uh, responding. Okay, it's the whole point of this question is to throw them off guard because someone is coming to you and they want to impress you, whether it be dating, whether it be at work, whether it be an interview, whether it be in a courtroom situation. Chances are their presentation is well rehearsed. So your goal is to throw him a question that or her that throws them by surprise. And then by doing so, you'll be able to catch their reaction before a stressful question. Stressful, not necessarily truthful or not. Okay. Then so you do this several times, and every time the person tells you something that is truthful about themselves, register register that in your baseline. Whenever he's telling something truthful, he'll look straight at you, or he will stop blinking, or he will breathe very normally, or he will move forward. Look for patterns that are very aligned with that line of questioning. Now, on the other hand, you also have questions that have to do with untruthful questions. And you might start asking them very, very, almost in a playful way. Uh, tell me 3 things you've lied about. Or tell me 3 things that are not truthful about you, that are not truthful. 3 little lies. Tell me 3 little lies. Again, the whole point of this is as they're presenting this information to you, you're setting up a baseline for times when the person lies. Okay. Now, in the event the context is not appropriate, where you get to really ask them these questions, right? Which say you're in a more serious environment, what you want to do is you want to start escalating questions that are more challenging to the person, more stressful questions, and see if they keep reacting the same way. Now, normally, if the person is lying, there will be certain things that will suggest a change in pattern. For instance, they might hold their breath. 2, they might ask a question with a question. So you ask them a question, you're saying, why are you saying that? Instead of responding to the question. Or they may confabulate, or they might go too much into one aspect of the information they want to hear, going heavily into detail. Another thing that's being established is that those people who are lying essentially tell everything chronological order from A to Z, whereas those who are remembering tend to do so or reconstruct the memory piecemeal. So they might start at the middle and then go to the beginning and then go to the middle to the end, back forward until they create a memory. Those who are lying, the main thing you got to understand is this: those who are lying intentionally, either to get a job or to win some sort of favor from you or get in your good graces, essentially they already have pre-padded responses which they already have used with other people in the past. Okay. And the key is to start opening up your ears and your eyes to what's happening before you. As I said before, there is even the best liar spotters maybe hit maybe 70, 75%, 80% of the time. The bottom line is it's about catching them by surprise. And if they ask a question instead of an answer, give you an answer, a question with a question, or they start spending way too much time in one piece of information rather than another, or they give you everything in chronological order. These are all indications that they're probably making up that story instead of telling you the truth. Um, but a lot of it has about spotting and looking at nonverbal behavior. If they stop breathing for a second, or their breathing changes when they're lying, then you have something to work with. Now, if you're working with colleagues, let's say, then you might be able to probably know when they've lied in the past. When do you know they're lying? Little lies. When they're little lies, make sure you record that information on little lies. Because at some point, those little lies are going to be big lies. It's no longer, oh no, I was, instead of being at work, no, I was at home. They're lying, right? Or they may start escalating the lie, but the nonverbal behavior will remain the same. So it all depends on if you're interacting with someone on an ongoing basis, right? Where, let's say at work or in a friendship relationship versus a one-shot deal. If it's a relationship, if it's a situation, the person comes back again and again and again, then do it that way. Okay. So these are basically the things you got to look for moving forward with in spotting liars. Even the top lawyers maybe get it 60, 70% of the time. But essentially is they keep keying in on moments when the person is lying on a uh, very small level. Now, keep in mind the following, that lawyers also know they do a lot of discovery on the person. So they're able to determine when the person is lying. You're asking certain questions, they know they're lying, and they already know they're lying ahead of time. That's also might be another way for you to determine if the person is lying or not. Know that they lie. Ask them a question that is false. And if they tell you, no, it's true, then they're lying. But you ask them a question that's false because you did your discovery in that person ahead of time. That's so easy today. We can always dig up some information on someone anytime, right? On the internet, on Google, on Tellius, on all sorts of search engines. So the key is have something to work with. And then with that, you can set up a calibration field that enables you to determine whether a person is lying or not. Now, I'm going to wrap it up with a series of exercises that you can do with your friend. And they're kind of enjoyable. So the first thing is this: you find someone you know. You want to develop your calibration exercises. Just tell me, give me 3 things that are true about you. And then one question at a time, 3 things. And the person will say, I do A, I was born here, and I was okay. Then give me 3 things that are not true, that are false about you. Okay. Again, the person will say, I was born in Kentucky. They were born in New York, and they notice their eyes move. Okay. This way, through these series of exercises, you can begin to actually develop the internal skills to determine if someone is lying or not. And it's a lot of fun. So what I find in our seminars is that people who start at 30 or 40% accuracy are able to go up to 70 to 80% within a couple of runs, because we're very good at spotting. Remember, when someone will have a good intuition that this person is lying, essentially what they're telling you is that they already have a strategy which is being streamlined from years and years of practice that they're able to know right away. So keep that in mind. Okay, so all these strategies can be learned, and the best way of learning them is by having fun. I mean, in NLP, what we focus is about having fun and really getting to work with this environment. Because just remember, when you were 5, 6, 7 years old, you were having fun learning how to ride a bicycle or going to school, hanging out with your peers. At that time, you're just having a lot of fun and really enjoying life. And that's basically what we want to return back to. Because as you have more fun while you're learning, you're able to really develop the cognitive skills and the perceptual skills to really use this in the future. Okay. Now, before I leave, I'm going to give you some information. If you want to know more about us, um, There you go. It's a website. It's New York NLP Institute. What we do is we offer seminars both online and offline whenever that happens for those who are interested in expanding their communication abilities. Okay. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really neglected it for a long time because as NLP by nature tends to be very much interactive. We favor live seminars. You know, I'm kind of an old school kind of guy. So, but please subscribe because this way we can get more videos like this out to you, and you really are able to enjoy and have a really, really good time and really learn. And that's our key thing. And last but not least, um, we have a program called uh, Thriving with Telehealth and NLP in the New Economy. And this is basically about how uh, things are not going to go back to normal, guys. So it's important right now, whether you're learning NLP, checking this video, reading, that you really bring yourself up to date on the kind of technologies you're going to need in the future to really make it happen. So I hope and I invite you to really do that so you're able to take your life to the next level because we are going to have challenges. And the key is make sure that you're ready, plan, and know the road ahead. Okay, guys. And the last but not least is two programs that we do. One is this one, the Nlp Bootcamp, which we do every other month. Um, Again, if you reach us to at New York NLP Institute, we can let you know about when to get there. We also have this program, the NLP Practitioner Program, which is 20, I believe it's a 80-hour program, is 10, 20-day program, 80 hours long. Okay, guys, so look, I hope this has been useful. Um, and let me see one thing. Okay. Okay. And goes to show you how much I have. I hope this has been useful. And most important thing is make sure that we have a okay. Make sure that everything runs smine, and in a few minutes we will conclude this program. Again, enjoy, thrive, prosper, and I will speak with you soon.